Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Edge. I'm Chris Bishop. Now, most weeks we have stories of struggle among entrepreneurs. This week we have a story of struggle par excellence. The story of Eddie Moshole, a man who failed his exams at school 5 times. He went off to become a cleaner in Germiston and Johannesburg. You would have thought that was that, but no. He started a business with just 68 Rand. That's nearly $7. Now he has made millions with an idea he came up with while pushing a broom. Welcome, Eddie Moshole. Thank you very much for joining us. And just tell us a little about your background. You grew up in Limpopo in the north of South Africa, and you had some struggles at school. I mean, what was it like for you?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to be here and share my story. Yes, I was born in Limpopo. That's where I was actually attending my schools and from a disadvantaged family. And then, as you know, the government schools are not actually excellent like the private schools. And I went through all the struggle like everybody else. And then eventually, after struggling with the matric, and then I ended up getting a job at Enterprise Foods. And I was employed there as a cleaner on my entry level.
I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs refuse to give up, but after 5 times you thought, that's it for matric. What did your parents say? What did they do?
Unfortunately, my mom passed away when I was 6 years old, and when I was 16 years old, my dad passed away. So my parents never actually have an opportunity to tell me what I can do.
So you got this job as a cleaner in Germiston, in Johannesburg. Did you think that was going to be it, do you think? Or, I mean, this is 15 years ago now, a long time, and you said you got about 300 Rand a month.
Yes, what happened is that I was working as a cleaner, but you know, my heart was not for a cleaner. And I had to discover some few things that I believed strongly even up to today. And I had to discover that I've got the power. Also based on my childhood as a young boy, growing without parents, and you know, I had to learn few things, and of which discipline was part of it, and taking into account the fact that your life is your life. And then after discovering the power that I've got, and I had to know what I want as a human being. I know I didn't want to be a cleaner.
When did you discover that power? At what moment? Do you remember that moment?
2 years after the death of my dad, I was 18 years old. And I took big decisions from there. And when I go to school, it was based on the fact that there is no one who can actually motivate me to go to school. I have to motivate myself. And even when I went to Enterprise Foods, then I went there knowing that I've got the power to direct myself, and the only thing that I need to discover is what I truly want. And I wanted to be a business person.
So take us back to the very beginning. I mean, you started this quite prosperous business you've got now with just 68 Rand. That's about $7. I mean, what were your first steps as an entrepreneur?
You see, as a cleaner, I was going to the storeroom to get the cleaning material, and that's where I could see from the label that, you know, where the company is buying, and calling those companies, making follow-up, taking 68 Rand out of my wages and going there and buying the chemicals and coming back to work, selling to the people that I work with, you know, and over the weekend, door to door into the township, selling to people, and until I decide to quit the cleaning job and start my own factory.
Well, we're talking like long hours here. So you're working full time in the beginning.
Yes.
But even when you were doing the business full time, what kind of hours were you walking, knocking doors?
Look, it was even worse because being in business, it's not all about selling the dishwashing liquid and the cleaning material. There's lots of things that I didn't actually know about business, and I was not actually prepared, like the financial management of the business, proper sales and marketing. There was quite a lot of things. So it was taking about 18 hours a day.
So just tell us, I mean, how difficult was it? I mean, actually selling something, a new product that no one knew at the time, even door to door, it's always tough, I know. How did you deal with it?
That was the most difficult part because I also saw it when I cracked a deal with Pick n Pay that took 7 years of negotiations.
7 years?
Yes. So it was not a simple thing.
Well, just give us the idea of the growth of the business. I mean, when you started, you were probably selling a handful of cleaning products. I mean, how did it grow? How quickly did it grow in the first few years?
I started selling to the people that I was working with at Enterprise Foods, and then eventually going to the Indian stores in Germiston, Johannesburg, all over. But that was not the market that I wanted. I wanted to be in a formal market, the likes of the Pick n Pay, the Spars, you can name them.
You just mentioned now it took 7 years of negotiation to get one of these deals. How come it took so long?
It takes so long because also you must understand that's not an easy market to get into. There's somebody that actually came to me after I was successful, and this person it's involved in a sweets business, and for 36 years, he's even old now, but he's successful in other markets, but not at the mass retailers. So there are other people that have been struggling for more than I did.
But how difficult it is to go from making a product like your product and then actually getting it into the chain stores and the big markets.
You need lots of things. You need a product that is barcoded, well branded. You need a proper system of merchandising and sales. You need a proper system of distribution channels. You need quite a lot of things.
What's the worst problem you've come up against?
The worst problem that I actually came is because of the competition. You're competing against massive brand, huge budget, and it's big.
That's one thing that often small entrepreneurs like yourself do struggle against, is the fact that people will always look to the big names and the big brands. How do you overcome that?
Yes, what is happening is that creating a brand that people will love, that people will connect with, and the brand that actually solve their problems and cost effective. That's what is important into our company.
So you think that's the best way for entrepreneurs to always look at things in terms of cost and undercutting the opposition?
It's very, very important to look at cost, but you don't compromise the quality, because quality at the end of the day, it's the one that will make people keep on coming back to support your brand.
And now, from the early days, Pick n Pay and Spar, now you're into also Walmart. And how much of a leap was that? It was a very, very well publicized entry into this country. What was it like negotiating with them?
Yeah, it's quite interesting because from time to time, this bigger organization, they are looking at fresh idea, young entrepreneurs that can come and offer something new, something that can actually meet their requirements. And
Walmart are known as tough negotiators. What was it like dealing with them?
Look, with Walmart via the Medcash, it was quite interesting because also the fact that I've got some record of success behind me, that actually also make things easier when I'm negotiating.
And how do you see it expanding? Do you see it expanding across the continent, this kind of product that you're coming up with?
Actually, what I'm doing, I've got a global vision. Not only South Africa, not only our continent, Africa, but I've got a global vision of my business.
Okay, so at the moment as well, I might add, just not too far from this studio in Wynberg, you've got your headquarters there. I mean, how many people have you got working for you now? Making this?
Look, direct staff, we talk about 16, and we've got other indirects whereby, you know, the Ullmans who are our distributors, and together with the sales and merchandising company, we've got lots of people.
And a lot of people watching this program, they either want to be entrepreneurs or they're starting out like you did. What would you say to them? I mean, what advice would you give from your years of experience?
If it's your calling, go for it.
And what about the pitfalls when things get tough? What do you say?
There will be some struggle. Things will never be the same all the time, but we don't give up.
An entrepreneur once said to me that sometimes success can be as dangerous as failure, in the fact that sometimes it can get to people's heads, you start making bad decisions, you start letting your ego run riot. How do you deal with that?
I think the most important thing is if you know what you want. I think even when change comes, you're not going to change with the change. You will remain strong and solid, and you will maintain the discipline, because it's the discipline that has actually taken you from ground level to where you are.
And just finally, very briefly, in the future, how would you like people to look at you as an entrepreneur and say, there's Eddie Moshole? What would you like them to think?
I want to remind people that whatever you can dream of, it's all possible. I went through so many struggles as a young boy, and up to where I am now, I never give up. If I have made it, anyone can make it. And if that inspires somebody, I'm glad.